Hi Joy FM friends, I'm Carley Boyette with Faith Focus Media, and I am joining you from the set of Season 3 of The Chosen. It's coming soon, and I have been given an amazing opportunity to take a behind the scenes tour, and I want to show you this experience as well to get you excited about the upcoming Season 2.
Okay, in case you haven't heard, The Chosen is the first ever multi-season show about Jesus and his followers. The series continues to break records. Episodes, which are completely free by the way, have been viewed over 400 million times and counting. Most of Season 3 was shot in Midlothian, Texas, on a 1,200-acre campground owned by the Salvation Army. In addition to their massive 30,000 square foot soundstage, this authentic first-century city and biblical set covers 2 acres. That's about the size of 2 football fields side by side. The producers and director of The Chosen have a massive goal to reach 1 billion people. I got a chance to sit down with Dallas Jenkins and many others who are working so diligently to bring the story of Jesus to the masses.
Let's start with how you think things are going differently than maybe Season 1 when you started this project. I think sometimes the pressure can get added on, to really make sure that it lives up to what it's done so far. Kind of explain your headspace now.
Yeah, I mean, I can say this honestly. I don't think about those things.
Yeah.
The fact that the audience is bigger doesn't change that when we're sitting in front of a blank computer screen and have to write an episode, we still have to make a show that people want to see and that honors the spirit and intentions of Jesus in the Gospels. This season is harder than it's ever been because of weather. We've had COVID issues. There's some scenes that we've done that are bigger. Other than that, the fact that it's harder, I can't let it feel different. I really have to focus on making sure that we never lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, we're just trying to make the best show that we can. And whether 10 people watch it or whether 100 million people watch it, that doesn't change our decision-making and our creativity. It can't. If I start thinking about avoiding criticism or getting...
But how do you do that in a world where I think that is our tendency to do that? How do you help other people not worry about what others are saying?
Well, it's God took it away from me several years ago. I mean, I struggled with narcissism and with people-pleasing for most of my life, and I had a big career failure and kind of surrendered to God, and someone felt led to tell me in the middle of the night from across the world, it's not your job to feed the 5,000, it's only to provide the loaves and fish. And that truth changed my life, and realizing that, okay, if I can just focus on making the best 5 loaves and the best 2 fish that I can and delivering them to God, and at that point the transaction's over. And if he feeds 5,000 with it, or if doesn't, that's really not up to me.
You look troubled.
I am.
You're losing something. I know what that's like.
What are you losing?
Time.
I mean, how do you get into kind of that mindset of Jesus, on a daily? To me, it seems like it would almost be exhausting.
I can never get into the mindset of Jesus. And I don't even try. You don't do that, because how do you enter the mind of God?
For the role?
I start by praying. I start with prayer, and I go to my faith. I read the Bible. I pray. I go to Mass. I partake in the sacraments. I do the things that fill me up spiritually to prep me for the weeks ahead, and that's how I know that I'm sort of suited up.
Yeah.
The armor of God, literally. That's my armor. The next step is then to do the technical work, which is making sure I'm off book and I'm memorized, and sometimes some days are better than others. You commit to it as best as you can, and for me, that commitment is bringing an authenticity to it, a personal and spiritual commitment and authenticity to the role, and I can't do that if my faith is not a part of that, because my faith is a part of who I am.
I was one way, and now I am completely different. And the thing that happened in between was him.
I love when you think of the apostles, I think the man is what you think of first, but I think there's just as much power in what Mary Magdalene was doing and helping, and in that scene. I mean, that's pretty powerful that you're able to kind of portray that.
Oh, and knowing where she, at the end, she's the first to see him resurrected. And I mean, there's something incredibly powerful about Jesus's treatment of women.
Yes.
And how it's the same as with men, and he doesn't see this difference. He just loves no matter who you are.
Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Playing Little James has changed so much of my life. I also, I have cerebral palsy and scoliosis, so Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen, embracing that and making it part of my character has kind of forced me to be more vulnerable than I ever had been, and to, I guess, shine a spotlight on the thing that I was the most insecure about and the thing that I felt ashamed of. And Dallas came along and decided to make it part of the character, and it added this whole other layer, and it's been cathartic in a lot of ways because I've been able to work through some of that, and it's helped me learn to love myself a little bit more and to accept the things that make me different. And hopefully that can, I can pass it on to some of the viewers to know that just because they're different doesn't mean they're broken.
That cannot be explained. Rise.
Okay, so I'm Amber. I play Tamar in The Chosen, who's also known as the Ethiopian Woman. She was the best friend of the paralytic that Jesus performed his first public miracle on in season 1, episode 6, Indescribable Compassion. And I think that was just supposed to be the end of her journey. But for some reason, they decided it'd be a good idea to bring me back. And in season 2, we find out that she's going to be joining the group. So in season 3, what we're going to see is the dynamic that happens when a Gentile joins a group of Jews. And the challenges that are going to come from that. And also the beautiful moments, too, that come from being the other.
Force them out. We are still Rome.
I think the folks are really keen to relate to some of the other characters in the show. But I think that it's important not to leave Quintus out of that conversation. Yeah. There are people maybe who need to be reminded that maybe they are closer to a Roman than a Christian. Quintus is such a small part of this bigger story that he doesn't fully understand. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't see the end of it yet, and how big this really is.
That's right. And I feel that.
Yeah.
I have chosen you 12 as my apostles.
Don't feel any different?
I don't need you to feel anything to do great things.
For example, with Philip in season 2, he sort of takes on this leadership role. He's the most prepared out of all the disciples. He's the most excited. And shows Philip's role in season 2 is more like, hey, like pumping up his brothers and sisters to be part of this. Season 3, we get to explore some other colors of Philip where it's going to be a very relatable thing for the audience because he's been training and studying his whole life for this one moment, and then Jesus puts him on a mission in season 3, and the moment arises, and maybe Philip struggles a little bit, maybe he doesn't succeed, maybe some self-doubt starts creeping in, and suddenly you thought you knew who you were, and then you fail a little bit, and then you start to question everything about yourself.
I think a lot of people are going to relate to that.
Yeah. Little James, on a more personal level, has a literal come to Jesus meeting where he kind of confronts Jesus about the fact that he hasn't been healed, but these other people have been healed. And, is kind of wrestling with that, comparing himself to others, just as we all do. And it's going to be a very transformative season for Little James.
And I think when you watch for season 3, it's going to be, it's like a season of transition. Everyone is finding out what happens after you make that decision to follow Christ, because that's the easy part. Yeah, okay, I'm going to be a Christian now. Right. That's the easy part, my friend, because once you decide to get on that path, it's the journey and staying and keeping that journey. You're going to see the challenges that come from after you make that decision, which is what's going to be what we relate to as human beings.
Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. I'm the one who caused their hunger. I should be the one to feed them.